and the Chiefs. But before we get to that game, let's get to our walkthrough as we prepare you for a great Sunday of action, guys. Give us something you are fired up to see tomorrow. Let's start with Mike Rob.
Yeah, Jeezy, I'm going to the AFC. These are two teams that are trying to vie for, superpowers in the AFC. I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns going to visit the Los Angeles Chargers. And Justin Herbert, is he not just amazing at the quarterback position? He can hit any part on the football field. The guy throws perfect passes. He's big. He can run. I mean, I just don't see how you can stop this guy. Unless you got a guy like Myles Garrett. So I'm interested in seeing, can Justin Herbert step up to the plate this week and beat a quality team? Can't wait to see this game, man. Tommy P, what you got, brother?
I'm looking forward to seeing, can the Dallas Cowboys take care of business, pound another division foe on Sunday against the Giants, and really take control of the NFC East? You've got Dak Prescott absolutely balling, the number 3 ranked offense in the entire NFL. The defense has found competency, which is all that they need to do. Mike McCarthy might be a Coach of the Year candidate before this season is over. I know the Giants just got a big win down in New Orleans. Tough task, though, now heading to Dallas. Win this one, it's going to feel like everybody else is chasing the Cowboys in the East. What do you got, D-Hall?
Hey, I'm going out to the desert, and it's Arizona versus San Francisco. And originally, when I was watching this game, it was all about Arizona, right? They're undefeated, only the lone wolf undefeated team left in the NFL. Now I find out Trey Lance is starting, and man, I can't wait to watch Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan. And just think about how Kyle Shanahan took a guy like RG3, one-dimensional when he first came into this league his rookie season, and took Washington to the playoffs. And so I know this is a different San Francisco football team, but I'm interested to kind of see how Trey Lance is really used in this game, how his legs give them just a little different style of offense, a little different things they can do. Man, it's going to be exciting to watch. So, Jeezy, what about you?
Speaking of rookie quarterbacks, the Justin Fields era officially upon us. I know he started last week, but now Matt Nagy turning it over to Justin Fields, no longer saying that Andy Dalton is the starter when he's healthy. It is Justin Fields, and you're seeing these shots that he took down the field against Detroit. They did a nice job of adding some extra protection to make sure that he had more time, certainly more time than he had against the Cleveland Browns the week before. And look what happens when you've got time and you're playing against a subpar defense. You've got some areas down the field that you can throw into. That's what Justin Fields did. Let's see if they can do that against the Raiders. They're a little bit banged up on defense, but I certainly expect them to get after him a little bit better than the Detroit Lions did. It's not always going to be that easy, Justin Fields. You're going to have to continue to process things a little bit quicker. That's why you're shaking your head, Mike Rob. Maybe we'll get into that later. We don't have time for it in the walkthrough. I'm just saying, Justin Fields, I'm really interested and really curious to see how it's going to go for you. All right, but now to that Sunday night matchup that we were talking about. Josh Allen facing the Chiefs for the 3rd time in the last 2 years and hoping for a different result. 0-2 against Kansas City. Mike Rob already given the pep talk. Josh Allen 18-3 against everybody else. His numbers down significantly against the Chiefs. Chiefs gonna get a chance here to remind the AFC, hey, we are still daddy in the AFC. The Buffalo Bills trying to end that. Kim Jones, she's covering the Bills for us.
I think we all agree that Sunday night's game between the Bills and the Chiefs should be a fun one. Josh Allen knows exactly what to expect, at least from the Chiefs crowd.
We got to be on point. My voice is going to be probably pretty hoarse after the game. Just inside the huddle, making sure we're getting the play calls, communication on point. Because once you kind of spread out, you got to either get to a check somehow quick, and you got to go because that play clock's running down on you. And it makes it really tough. So it's a big advantage, to have a crowd like that.
I think you can make the case that Josh Allen and that Bills offense have gained confidence since that season opening loss to the Steelers. And then there's their defense. The Bills defense is back. First in the league so far this season in scoring defense and overall defense. If that continues, the Bills are going to be very tough to beat.
Thank you, Kim. Bills and Chiefs tied for 2nd in the league in scoring. A struggling Kansas City defense does not want to see Buffalo coming in, DeAngelo Hall, but that is exactly what is going to happen. They are going to challenge that secondary.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it. A struggling Kansas City defense. This is not what we're used to seeing from Spags and this group. They got some veteran players on that side of the ball. They have to stand up and make a change. When you look at all of these weapons that the Buffalo Bills have, I mean, how can Kansas City even come up with a game plan? You know, at first it was just the Stephon Diggs show and Cole Beasley working things in the slot. Then you add a guy like Emmanuel Sanders to the fold who can go out and win one-on-one matchups. I love Gabriel Davis, the young guy out of UCF. I mean, this is just a talented receiving core, and you cannot forget that man, Josh Allen, who's ultimately throwing the football. And so we can say both of these offenses are going to be explosive. It's how the other team's defenses handle each other. And I think Buffalo has a undecidedly advantage in that category when you think about what their defense is going to bring to the table and just the lackluster performances that Kansas City's defense has put on display so far this season.
Well, D-Hall, I can't talk about the Buffalo Bills without first giving a shout out to Josh Allen, best quarterback in the National Football League. Okay, I got that out the way. You talk about those weapons that you talk about the weapons that the Bills have. You talked about the receivers and the slot and all of those things, man. But none of those receivers lead this team in touchdown receptions. It's tight end Dawson Knox, man. And to me, he's the guy that could be kind of that forgotten about piece. Kansas City, they're giving up a lot. I mean, they're hemorrhaging yards. They give up so many yards. They're 31st in the National Football League, giving up, over 400 and something total yards per game. And again, it doesn't matter how many points that the Kansas City Chiefs can score if they can't stop anybody. And you look at Dawson Knox, this guy gets in behind coverage. Defenses have to respect the fact that Josh Allen possibly will run the football. Again, he throws the ball all over the place, but Dawson Knox, especially in the red zone, he has 4 touchdown receptions or something like that. That's why I think Dawson Knox becomes very important, becomes a vital piece of this Buffalo Bills offense, and a guy that Kansas City is going to have to stop again, especially in the red zone.
Talk about what Kansas City has to stop through the air. They've got to stop this entire complete Buffalo offense. And when I say complete, I'm talking about that running game and not just Devin Singletary. To me, it's Zach Moss. This guy is the factor for them. It's the big physical runner. It's the downhill runner. It's the guy that defensive backs do not want to have to tackle. So they've got a good package of plays for Moss, who was inactive in week 1, and they lost the game. I'm just going to leave that right there. To me, he is effective in what he's picking up and also what he's doing to the defense. Poor Lonnie Johnson Jr. of the Texans had to tackle Zach Moss at one point, then defend a pass on the next play, and then tackle Zach Moss again on the next play. If you don't think that wears down a defense, you're sadly mistaken. So to me, if I'm Buffalo, I want that hammer to continue to pound away at the front of that Chiefs defense that could be without Chris Jones. He's listed as questionable. I think that effect it has on the defense is unbelievable, Tom.
Mike, you mentioned that Chris Jones injury, questionable because of a wrist injury, did not practice the entire week. Andy Reid still said they're just trying to let him work some things out with it. They're going to give him up until kickoff potentially to try to get right. If Jones can't play, that is a huge loss against Zach Moss and that Bills offense. You do get Frank Clark back. He's off the injury report. Finally, he's only played in 1 game this season. The Chiefs have to find some answers here. They got a Bills team coming in that not only is throwing the ball all over the yard with the best quarterback in the NFL, Josh Allen, Mike Robb, but they're also 5th in the NFL in rushing too.
I know it's early, but this has just got the feel of the kind of a game that could have its effect in January. Who's playing the AFC Championship? Who's at home? This is just a monumental game. And also, if Kansas City loses, that's another contender in the AFC that they're giving confidence to. Enormous game. Enormous injury for the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson following that game on Thursday night. He's expected to miss about 6 weeks after the Seahawks quarterback had surgery on Friday to repair his injured middle finger. He posted this pic on Twitter late last night with the caption, Lionheart. Tom, let's talk about the surgery for that finger after he hit Aaron Donald's helmet on a follow-through and what we're expecting on that time frame and how we got here.
Well, Mike, my understanding is 4 weeks is the best case scenario for Russell Wilson to come back from this injury. The Seahawks have a week 9 bye. They play the Packers in week 10. So that is really the earliest that Wilson potentially could be back, even though, as Pete Carroll said the other day, he is an all-time great healer. The reason that this is a longer time frame is it is not merely a fracture. It's a very complicated injury, really 2 different injuries involving a lot of big words. An extensor tendon rupture, which is mallet finger. That's why he couldn't straighten that finger out. And also a comminuted fracture dislocation of the proximal interphalangeal joint. What that means is that top joint on his finger is broken into more than 2 pieces. He's got bone splinters in there. Dr. Stephen Shin, worst name in the business, but one of the best hand doctors, says that he has every expectation Wilson will make it back this season. Short term for the Seahawks, they got a guy in Geno Smith who played on time. He was decisive last week, really functioned with the timing element that offense is supposed to have. You still got DK Metcalf. You still got Tyler Lockett. Big picture, though, the Seahawks are really struggling on defense right now, and you have to wonder if they lose 2, 3, 4 games before Russell Wilson comes back, does that in any way impact the timeline for Wilson's return? Just knowing he's also got to look out for his career and be careful about putting himself back onto the field too soon, Mike.
149 consecutive starts for Russell Wilson to begin his career. That is where the streak will end. Tom, thank you on that. Another story that we are watching, controversy surrounding Raiders coach John Gruden. The Wall Street Journal reported that the NFL, which was reviewing over 600,000 emails connected to the Washington football team, discovered an email from Gruden, then at ESPN, to former Washington president Bruce Allen, in which he used a term that is a denigrating term toward NFLPA Executive Director DeMaurice Smith. And Gruden has since apologized for that remark. He's claiming that he was referring to Smith as a liar. Don't know how many folks are exactly buying that one. We are told that the league and the Raiders have been in communication. In fact, the NFL released a statement saying the email from John Gruden denigrating DeMaurice Smith is appalling, abhorrent, and wholly contrary to the NFL's values. We condemn the statement and regret any harm that its publication may inflict on Mr. Smith or anyone else. Then there's this statement from Raiders owner Mark Davis that said the content of an email regarding DeMaurice Smith from John Gruden when he worked for ESPN 10 years ago is disturbing and not what the Raiders stand for. We were first made aware of the email late yesterday by a reporter and are reviewing it along with other materials provided to us by the NFL. We are addressing the matter with Coach Gruden and will have no further comment at this time. So we'll continue to monitor this situation. We'll see what the league decides as far as John Gruden and his status, and we will also see the effect that this could potentially have on the Raiders locker room.